boom, 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 boom. Hello? Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Thank you for coming and spending 30 minutes together. Hi there. My name is Jan Gunnarsson. I'm from a country way up north called Sweden. I believe we came second in the Eurovision Song Contest. No, we didn't. You had a great artist. I just loved that song. A while ago, a person called me. He was calling from a large municipality in Sweden. He told me they were running some 25 elderly homes in the region. And every year they did a research, a survey, where they asked all the old people some 15 questions. One of the questions they asked was, how do you like the food? And he told me that 25% of the elderly homes, always the same ones, the old people would say, we love the food. And then he said that in 50% of the elderly homes, people would say, the food is okay. And in 25%, a quarter of the homes, the seniors would say, we hate the food. So he told me they had a management meeting because they only get like a rating that was okay. 25% loved the food, 50% thought the food was okay, right? And 25% thought the food was lousy. And they wanted to get the number up because okay was not good enough, they thought. So one suggestion was that we should buy more expensive food to get the numbers up. But then one person said, maybe we should look at the 25% of those homes where the elderly people think the food is really good, he told me. And then I said, or maybe you should employ better chefs. No, this is the real interesting thing, he said. It's the same food in all the elderly homes. The same food, I said? Yes. We prepare the food in a central kitchen, and then we drive the food out in minivans to all the elderly homes. So it's exactly the same food. Still, they rated it so differently on the question, how do you like the food? So they went out and looked what they did in the 25% of the homes where people loved the food. And then they discovered, yes, the food is important, but it was something else. And I guess you all can imagine what that was. It was this. They saw this. When the old people came for lunch or for dinner, they were greeted and treated with respect, with dignity, compassion, and care. They saw how they had set the tables, the atmosphere, so differently than the elderly homes where they didn't like the food. It was a total different thing. It was the human interaction, he said. And that's why I call you. Because instead of investing more money in the food or, products or stuff like that, it seems to be about this. And I wanted to say a couple of words about that. Basically, I believe that we all are good people. The people you're working with are good people, I think. I believe. We all want to treat people with respect, with dignity and compassion and care. We really want to do that. I think all of us want to go home from work each day with a feeling or a sense of having done something valuable for other people. We all want that. And it's not just because we choose to do that. It shows in research. Science can today show that being caring, compassionate, is something that's part of our genetic code. Evolution has done this to us. Evolution has made us caring. Why? Well, there are three reasons. The first reason we need to be empathic or compassionate or caring is because we need to take care of our offsprings, our children. We're not like turtles. You have seen the documentaries with turtles where they kind of dig down their eggs in the sand and then they leave the mother and father. And then you see the small turtles coming, trying to get down to the water before the birds would take them. That's not how we do it. We need to take care of our kids for a long time. My kids are 27 and 28. I think nowadays they should take care of themselves and not call me for money, but you know. And we're very close to our children. Can you imagine being at the hospital and you had this baby and the midwife comes and takes the baby and to check it or measure it and all that stuff. And then she comes back into the room and she says, "Oh, there's been a mistake." What? We mixed up all the children. You mixed up all the children. Yeah, so you can just take one. We wouldn't really go for that. So we need compassion and we need caring to take care of our offspring and our older people, our parents, our grandparents. The second reason why evolution had dragged compassion and caring into us is that we need to find a partner to keep humanity going. And to be attractive is to be kind. If you look at all the dating sites, the match.coms and what have you, the one thing that comes top on all of them throughout the world, one thing that people look for in a potential partner, the one thing that tops the list is kindness and consideration and care. So, an evolution wants us to find a partner and, make more humans. That's the idea. And the third thing we need all this for, why we are designed this way, is because we have to collaborate. We wouldn't make it one day without other people. We wouldn't have food. We wouldn't, have anything. So we need to collaborate. We're social animals. We work together. And that has made us, in one sense, a successful species, the humans. So we have all this in us. So for us at the Hostmanship group, we think of all this as being innate. It's already there. We just need to release it in us, in an organizations. Because you know as well as I know, it is not always the case that we are met or meet other people with dignity, respect, and care. It's not always the case. So then I start to wonder, why isn't that always the case if it's a natural thing for us to be caring? And I see three challenges. And if you talk about the health care, the care sector, the first challenge we have to face is societal. There's so much demand on the healthcare sector. If I take my country, Sweden, we all want to live to like 1,000 years now with all the technology there is. So we kind of demand from the healthcare providers that give us all the, medicine and stuff like that. We want it. Because there's so many technical breakthroughs and medicines, so we want that. At the same time, people are getting older in our societies and demands even more care, and the resources are not kind of growing in the same rate. So there's a challenge out there. Then we have organizational challenges to treat people with dignity, respect, and care. It's about our culture, it's about systems we have in place, it's about how we interact people in the organization. There's a lot of challenges being part of an organization. A lot of things that stops all this to happen on the way. There's fear, there's insecurity, what have you. So there's a societal dimension of the challenge. There's also an organizational dimension. And then there's a third one. Maybe that's the toughest one, I think, of them all. And that's the personal challenge. Because you see, I have the intention, every day I go to work, I have the intention to treat everybody I meet throughout the day with respect, dignity, and care. I really have that intention. I sit on the bus every morning and thinking of 3 things that I should do that day in order to foster that behavior. One thing is I should feel gratitude. So I sit and think about 3 things I'm grateful for. There's a lot of things we might not be grateful for in life, but there's always 3. The next thing I think about on the bus is, how can I make a difference today? Something small for somebody. And the third one is, how can I show appreciation? How can I say thank you to the person cleaning the restroom over there that I was? Thank you. I really want to foster myself to be, caring. But I have internal challenges. Sometimes my ego gets a little bit in the way. Sometimes I have too much stress in me, worry. Sometimes I don't take care of my health and my body. Things like that I have to work. Sometimes greed comes in. Sometimes I can become jealous and not so very generous. I have to work with this myself. So it's a personal responsibility. Every day I go to work, I have a responsibility. But it's also a responsibility found in the organization, that we have a culture, that leadership and co-workership, employeeship. And it's also a question of society as a whole. So there are many, many challenges for this little simple thing, as I think, that to treat everybody with dignity and respect. So what we have done, looking at these challenges and looking at these intentions, we have put together an approach, you could call it, that we call hostmanship. It's a very accessible idea. It's not very complicated. I won't get like the Nobel Prize for it, definitely not. It's a very accessible and simple little idea that has made a lot of difference in organizations we've found. It's based on our own experiences. Like, I've been working for 27 years before I started to write books and develop the idea of hostmanship. It's something that works in all traditions. You might be an atheist or an agnostic or a humanist or a Catholic or whatever. It doesn't matter. It works in all cultures. We have an office in Uganda. It works there. It works here in the Netherlands, in Scandinavia, in England, wherever I go. So when we think of hostmanship, I think it as a starting point for a dialogue internally in the organization. We don't think of hostmanship, this is how you should do it, this is dogma, you should do 1, 2, 3. No. We want to get the dialogue started. And when we define the word hostmanship, we think of it as the art of making people feel welcome. The art of making people feel welcome. We think of it as art. These people who perform hostmanship, they are artists. They're fantastic. They are the ones, that make us feel equally welcome if we come 10 o'clock in the morning when the store opens, or 5 to 7 in the evening when it's about to close. These are tremendous artists. And they see every human they meet and every meeting they encounter as a canvas that can be painted. They're artists. Because the people we meet are so different. We are different. One day we might be, next day we are. Situations are different. They're artists. And the art of making people feel welcome is not about becoming a better person or learning 10 tricks to be nice. It's more like becoming more of the person you are. To dare to be the compassionate, the caring person we were born as. And that takes a little bit of bravery to show up as a human being and not just the role or behind some rules and regulations. They might be important too, of course. So they are artists. The art of making, this is something proactive. If we see somebody we think would need help, if we would see somebody standing outside here with a map, do like this, we will go up and say, can I help you? Maybe not me, because I don't come here from here, but we're proactive. The art of making people feel. Hostmanship is something one experiences here. Good service is often something experienced up here. Oh, it was good service. It was fast and the price was good and they were nice and what have you. But when we enter into the area of dignity, respect and compassion or care, it's here. Hostmanship is when this 22-year-old girl who came up to me a couple of weeks ago, she said, I work in an elderly home and I have this very old lady. And there's one thing that she really likes. You see, she loves to eat yogurt in the morning, but she don't like it so cold. So every morning, I take a little yogurt, I pour it into a cup and put it into the microwave oven for like 10 seconds, and then I bring it to her. And then she takes the spoon, and she always does the same thing. So she takes the spoon, and then she does the old lady. And I don't think she does this only because the yogurt is not so cold, but it's because I care about her. She sees that I do this. That's the thing. So the art of making people feel is here. Dignity is about seeing the human being. And then we have the word welcome. The art of making people feel welcome. Welcome we can think of as being included, feeling expected, feeling wished for, feeling somebody's glad that I came, And we think of hostmanship as every day trying to do what we can so that everyone we meet, it doesn't matter what gender they have, what sexual orientation, what physical function they have, or ethnicity, or belief system, or age, stuff like that. That's kind of secondary. It's important, but it's secondary. Everyone to be treated this way. So it's a very simple little line, isn't it? The art of making people feel welcome. It's big art. And when we see that this flourish in organizations, we see that this is happening on 3 different stages or levels, if you so like. The first stage of hostmanship is welcoming others. Welcoming the ones that we don't have maybe a close relationship with. That could be patients. It could be customers, clients, immigrants, strangers. Welcoming strangers should be a book. That's the first stage, that we never ever forget why we go to work. The shoe store is there because people need shoes, right? The hospital is there for people who have issues. The school is there for the kids, so they can become rich people, full people. Sometimes I come out to organization and we seem to forget that. We forget why we go to work. We had a city in the north of Sweden. The bus company had a problem because they couldn't keep up to the timetable. So then they had a management meeting, and this is actually a true story. And they were thinking, how are we going to cope with this? We can't be late all the time. So they changed where the bus went to places where it didn't live so many people. So then they were on time, because the schedule was more important than there were anybody on the bus. I was walking with 2 doctors doing the round, and one doctor said to the other doctor, if we don't talk to the patient, it will go faster. Well, it might. So the first stage of hostmanship is how we welcome others. The second stage of hostmanship is how we welcome each other. As colleagues, as family, as neighbors, as members, or whatever it is. If we don't welcome each other in our organization, if we don't treat our colleagues with respect, dignity, and care every time we meet each other, how would we expect that this will be towards the ones we go to work for? That wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. And sometimes I come in healthcare, I work like 50% in care. Sometimes, I come to organizations where people who work in the same unit, when they meet each other in the morning, they go like this. In the corridor, they don't even look up and say good morning. I think that's amazing. So I thought I would have a little course for them. They could at least do like this. Just see that there's somebody there. And this is about employeeship. This is about leadership. Hostmanship, you can't just delegate to the boss. And you can't just delegate it to the employees. This is something everyone is responsible for. That it's a caring, respectful environment we work in. The third stage of hostmanship is maybe the hardest one, I think. And maybe the most important one is about welcoming oneself. To become a good friend with the creature I'm going to live every day of my life with. And when I welcome all of me, when I welcome also my irritation, my greed, and say, hey, come on, show your face. When I welcome all of me, and there's a lot of me inside here. One day I can be smart like hell. The next day I can be a total fool, and all that. There's so much in me. And when I welcome all of me, I can welcome all of you. But if I don't dare or want to see also the not so nice things in me, I kind of, no. It's very hard to see the not so nice things in you. So the challenge is to welcome all of me so I can welcome all of you. And I believe that in welcoming oneself, true self-esteem and true self-confidence can arise. In my country, self-esteem and self-confidence has kind of sometimes turned out to a social comparison. My self-esteem goes up if I have more likes on Facebook than you have. And you know, in this culture we live in today, where a lot of young people, they think more of how they are perceived by others, maybe than that they're fine enough who they are. If you take like a magazine in Sweden, and I've talked to the photographers with all the celebrities and, you know, those people, they're all photoshopped. They have taken away some gray hair, a wrinkle here, a wrinkle there, and they put the stomach a little bit in like this. And there you have all the young people sitting and reading these magazines. They look, and they, oops, and their self-esteem goes down. And if self-confidence is dependent on that I run faster than you are, it will go down if you started to run faster than me. But there is a self-esteem and self-confidence that is not dependent on you, from my perspective. And that is based from that I am content with myself, I'm content with what I do, and I'm content with what I have. And can you have a bigger goal in life to be content? And when I'm in harmony, and we call it, in the Hostmanship group, we call it when I'm turquoise, the natural. The Jan, the original version of Jan, the turquoise, the compassionate, the caring, the respectful Jan. Everything comes in place. It's when there's disharmony in me that I can discriminate. I can find scapegoats. It's them, it's that group. If it wasn't for that group, we would all be happy. That's when I'm in the gray. So there's a gray and a turquoise version of me. And hostmanship is always trying to be turquoise. Before I send the email, am I turquoise or am I gray? You can check, because gray emails are a little shorter often. So there should maybe be a control at the computer before sending it. Are you gray or turquoise? Click. So when I open my mouth at a meeting, am I turquoise? When I go to work in the morning, how do I make myself turquoise? Become more like the authentic Jan, the authentic version of myself. So, and that is about welcoming oneself. So these are the three stages of hostmanship. Hostmanship we think of as the art of making people feel welcome. It's about welcoming others, the ones we go to work for. It's about welcoming each other, our colleagues, our partners we work with. And it's about welcoming ourselves. And I think when you address all these issues, you will have an authentic dialogue in your organization. Instead of coming with a service program or like a charm course and 10 ways to look proud or things like that. Because what we think is that see hostmanship, use it as an inspiration to find your way. How do we welcome people? What's important for us? And I can tell you, everybody can relate to that question. What's important that people would feel welcome here, as colleagues, as patients. Everybody can contribute to that. Everybody is co-responsible because you have a guest or a patient together. And this really winds up in that it's a pretty good investment to do if you're running like elderly homes in a municipality in Sweden. Instead of spending money on refurbishing everything and buying more expensive food, let's start to talk about attitudes, values, how we are. And that will make a hell of a difference for people, the ones we go to work for. And that's the idea with Hostmanship, to make a difference out there for a lot of people. And I believe that you and I, that's why we go to work. We want to make a difference. We don't succeed every day. We work in organizations and we work in society and we have to deal with ourselves and all that stuff. But if we have the intention in place, it will increase the possibility that we will make a difference for somebody a day like this. And that's what Hostmanship is about. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. Thank you. We are over there if you want to ask anything or get a book or something like that. And I'm over here if you want to ask any questions. We don't have a microphone, so then you have to come up to me. And thank you.